Hello everybody. So today I am making a cake. It is a white French vanilla cake. I'm going to show you some tips on how to make this cake really moist. This is also going to be a birthday cake, so I'm like, we can't have just a plain white cake. So I have some Oreos and some Halloween candy. So stay tuned and see what I end up doing to make this cake pizzazz. All right, so here's our cake mix. All I'm gonna do is just get the ingredients that it calls for. Okay, so I got the cake powder in there. It calls for a half a cup of oil and a cup of water and 3 eggs. Two, 3. Now I'm gonna start beating this on low and then gradually bring it up. You don't want to start off high, otherwise you're gonna end up spraying powder everywhere. And then work your way up. Okay, so my batter's done. Now I'm going to use 2 9-inch cake pans. I have sprayed them with Pam, and I have used flour to coat it also. It just makes them pop out a little bit easier. The hardest thing I find is dividing the batter evenly. I usually have one cake thicker than the other. So we'll see how I do this time. And then we're going to bake it in the oven at 350. For 2 9-inch pans, it says 24 to 29 minutes. You want to bake it on the lower end. You want to go closer to the 24. So you want it to be the more you bake it, the drier it's going to be. If you can bake it a little bit less, then it's going to be a little bit more moist. But I also have another trick that I do once these are done. So looks about right. We'll put them in the oven. Okay, so I just pulled these out of the oven. I'm going to let them cool for about 10 to 15 minutes. Then I'm going to put aluminum foil over them and put them in the freezer for about 2 hours. Okay, so now I am putting aluminum foil over the cakes, and I am going to put them in the freezer for at least 2 hours. And once I pull them from the freezer, I'll start the icing. Okay, so I am making my icing. I got 1 stick of butter and a half a cup of Crisco grease. I'm going to blend those together really well and whip them until it's kind of fluffy. Okay, I've added a teaspoon and a half of vanilla, and now I'm getting ready to add 3 tablespoons of milk. I'm just gonna add 2 for right now, and then we'll start adding the powdered sugar. All right, so I realized after a little bit I had the wrong end on. I didn't have my whisker on. So let's whip it now. And then here in a little bit we'll scrape the sides. All right, now I'm gonna add a couple, probably 2 cups of powdered sugar. There's 1. So I got 2 cups of powdered sugar in here. I'm gonna start it on low. Gradually speed it up. All right, so this recipe calls for 5 cups of powdered sugar. So I just got the last cup in there. So just so you know, we're at a stick of butter, half a cup of Crisco, a teaspoon and a half of vanilla, and now the powdered sugar, 5 cups. And 3 tablespoons of milk. Now milk, you may have to depending on how thick it is or how thin you want it. You can always add a little extra milk or not add as much. So mine is looking kind of, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to add more milk once I get this all blended really well to get the right consistency that I want. All right, so I got a little bit of icing here on my cardboard. I got my 2 cakes right here. I just got them out of the freezer, so they are thawing just a little bit. So I got my Oreo cookies and my candy, so this is where you can be fun and creative. So I am going to make my bottom layer a row of Oreo cookies. All right, now I'm just gonna put a little bit of icing on the cookies to help the cake stick when I put it on top. There we go. All right, so now we got the cake on top of the icing. Now I am going to just put a little bit more on this one. Oops. And then spread it around. Okay, so I got that top piece or that bottom piece iced, and now I'm gonna put the next piece on. There we go. Now I'm going to icing the rest of it, and then we'll add some candy and yummy stuff on top. All right, so I got the top of the cake iced. Now I am adding just a little bit of decoration before I add some candy to the cake. All right, so this is how it is so far. I don't think you can see the side of it. Let me tilt it just a little bit. I'll give you a full through view once I'm done. So now, oh my gosh, my hands are a wreck. I'm just going to start adding some candy. And I got some Snickers bars. And I'm just gonna start decorating it all over. Okay, so here's the cake. I'll give it a little spin for you. I opened up Oreo cookies and put the Oreo cookies around the side, and then we have the layer of Oreo cookies on the bottom, and then we have all the icing, and M&M's is our favorite candy, so I got lots of those on there with some Twix bars and cookies and Snickers. So it's not the best looking cake, but it is going to be awesome and taste delicious. Well, this is all that's left of the cake. It was delicious. So if you get the chance to make the cake, you'll be very, very happy with it. Until next time, by the way, subscribe to my page.